Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Remember when I told y'all how people in America, like officials, the people who run it, they oftentimes try to name initiatives something really fancy to sound like it's positive, it's to help people, but it's really to harm people in the end. We got another one right here. Former Alabama head coach and Hall of Fame head coach Nick Saban, he spoke to Congress and he hates the idea of NIL. Well, he says he don't really hate the whole thing. He just hates how things are going for the most part. This guy, he spoke on behalf of, at a sitting hearing on behalf of Protect College Sports Act of 2026. Protect College Sports Act of 2026. Protect College Sports Act. It sounds good, right? That sounds plausible. Sounds like something that's noble, right? Wrong. The devil is always in the details. Check this dude out speaking.
But to put this in perspective, if you had the biggest, baddest Ferrari that you could ever have, and it was going 150 miles an hour toward the Grand Canyon, somebody needs to tap the brakes. And I think that's what we all need to do here. First of all, I think student athletes should profit from name, image, and likeness as long as those things are authentic endorsements. They create branding for themselves. They sign with the company. They do promotions. I think these things are all healthy for their education as well as their quality of life. I think name, image, and likeness has become pay for play. But this is just the way it is. It's become an arm race. Who spends the most has got the best chance to win. But I think it's a race to the bottom because if you don't spend to win, you lose your fan base and you don't have any revenue. So how do you manage the other sports? So the one thing that I think this bill does, sort of enhance the enforcement of the House settlement, which to me is a start, which sort of creates a revenue share, kind of a cap, and also controls some of the name, image, and likeness things that this bill tries to control. Unlimited transfers creates free agency. Free agency with a collective, now you're talking about bidding war for players. And then you've got agents out there that are not certified, that are enhancing players or encouraging players to get in the portal. I can get you more money.
So it was all good when the colleges were taking advantage of the athletes. Now that the athletes are taking advantage of an opportunity, now it's a problem. Now Nick Saban has hauled his rusty, raggedy ass all the way up to Congress to speak on it. Now it's a problem. Now that the college athletes, many of whom are Black, are benefiting. Now that they are no longer being exploited, now that the colleges can exploit them, they want to try to control how much money they make. They try to act like they're cool with them making money, but they're really not. They can't stand the idea of an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old making more money than them. Think about that. These guys that are playing sports, they're stepping on the field oftentimes day one, and they're making more money than their coaches. They're making more money than the dean. They're making more money than their professors. Yeah. See, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. I say, youngster, go get the money, go get the money. Go get the money, go get the money. Yeah, get your money, man. Because guess what? You mess around and get injured, you out of here. And people don't give a damn about you, and they're going to show you better than they can tell you. Oh, man, they're going to put it in your face as long as you can produce for them. But the moment you can't produce, the moment you can't catch that ball, the moment you can't make that tackle, the moment you can't throw that ball, the moment that you can't block that opponent, Moment you can't score that hoop, you can't block that shot, you can't defend, you can't jump that hurdle. You out of here, man. Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of NIL for the youngsters because they've been getting the shaft for a long time. Sometimes you have an athlete that play the game their entire life. They play, let's say they go to college and play for 3 years, maybe even 4 years, and they get injured. They don't even get drafted. They don't even try to. The college totally turned their back on them. They don't have nothing. They got to go out there and try to find something to do, and they don't really know nothing else because all of their hopes was on football. All of their hopes was on basketball. They stopped. Then they get injured. They get some type of debilitating injury that they can't come back from, or sometimes, in rare cases, they get chronic illnesses. They suffer chronic illnesses, and the colleges, they turn their backs on them. Just like the pros are going to do if they make it to the pros. They're going to turn their back. If you can't produce, you out of here. You're nobody to them. And if you want some type of insurance, you want some type of pension or whatever, you got to fight for that. Now, get your money. Nick Saban, all these years he's been using these black football players to win his championships. It was all good. He never spoke to Congress. He never had a bad thing to say. But now that the boys are getting their money, those black kids are getting money, those black young men are getting paid, now he wants to control. See, this is about control, fam. You hear you keep on saying, well, it's out of control. So it's about control. They knew before the NIL deals went into effect what was going on. They should have planned for this. These people got millions and they're working with hundreds of millions of dollars. You mean to tell me you can't get some people, you can't get an economist to sit down there and say, this is how it goes? You can't call somebody who understands. Shit, call Boyce Watkins. Call somebody who understands money, who understand, how to plan out things, in regards to finances, and also who has some foresight on how things could go awry. I'm not feeling Nick Saban at all. This dude reminds me of a overseer.
So now we have this unbelievable number of players that get in a portal every year, and we have nothing to control agents. We have nothing to control tampering. Clemson had a player that was on campus for a whole week, and they come and got him off the campus and took him someplace else. So these kinds of things going on in college football are absolutely not what any of us signed up for relative to the educational institutions that, we've all tried to represent. My first year we had collective at Alabama, 2.7 million. Next year, 7 million. Next year, 10 million. I retired. Next year, 17 million. Next year, 24 million. Now you have schools that have close to $40 million rosters. So if we continue to do that, we're going to lose Olympic sports, we're going to lose non-revenue sports, we're going to lose scholarships, and basically what's going to happen is you're going to have football and basketball succeed, and we'll have club sports for everything else with no scholarships. That's horrible. I mean, we can't let that happen. And I think we have to continue to figure out ways that we can raise revenue so that we can keep all sports and all opportunities for all young people intact. I believe we want an education-based model that compensates athletes fairly, protects athletes properly, and still preserves development, competition, opportunity, and tradition. That is what this bill is trying to do. It isn't perfect, and I'm sure many, many adjustments need to be made, and I think there's a lot of people who can add to that. But this is a serious bipartisan effort to bring order to a system that is badly needs fixing.
A system that they created, a system that they knew what was going to happen. But like all the time, just like with all of these people that run major institutions in America, They fail to plan properly. And then when things go awry, they try to put a Band-Aid on it. They try to put a Band-Aid on a surgical wound. Check out this article here. Check out this article in Scripps News. Lawmakers push federal NIA standards as college sports face growing challenges. College sports are a multi-billion-dollar industry, and since 2021, student athletes have been able to get in on some of that money with name, image, and likeness deals. But college athletes, officials say, they want Congress to step in and help solve some of those problems that the NIL deals have created. Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He supports NIL deals, but believes the current compensation model for student athletes need improvement. He says so-called collectives are part of the problem. We had our alumni collect money and give it to the players, and it was fabricated NIL. It wasn't real NIL that you would think about in professional leagues, he explained. Well, it's college. So get over it, sucker. That's what I say. Yeah, get over it. Y'all was cool when everything was cool. Y'all was cool when the coaches and the administration was getting all the money. Y'all was cool when the stadiums was getting all the money, when the concessions was getting all the money. Y'all was getting all the money on the concessions. Y'all was cool when y'all was getting all the television revenue, all the ad money, and the youngsters wasn't getting none of that money. Hell no. No, I don't trust none of them. I don't like none of them. I say, get your money, youngster. Break their asses. Straight up. Get your money. Because out here, you on your own. You mess around and get an injury and watch what happens. No more talk.